So, okay, today I will explain you the concepts of the Wing Chun lighting system Chisa and the center line and the footwork together, how they all are linked together, okay? Chisa is generally a method to make your arms or generally whole body flexible, okay? So, but before we go that far, let's start with the center line theory, okay? So everybody understand what the center line is. Generally when I ask people, or in other Wing Chun methods like WC, VT, or whatever the spelling is, many times people say this is the center line, or the center line is the one that goes through your head, comes out your butt, you know, it's basically an axis, just like the planet has an axis. We can make, through any object, we can put an axis through. It's all geometrical measurements, mathematics. And since the international language in the world is mathematics, it's not English, it's mathematics, like 1 times 1 is 1, and it's all over the world the same. So the mathematics we speak, if it's Japanese, if it's Chinese, Turkish, American, German, they all have the same language in mathematics, or physics. So this is what Wing Chun is based on. Wing Chun is based on natural physics, or you can say Taoism, which stands for balance. Right? You hear yin and yang, all these things. And I will go in this also what yin and yang means in Wing Chun or martial arts generally, or how we make it visible in technical or physical movement, yin and yang, okay, motion. So, well, the center line, you need a few things. You need a logical thinking. So the logical thinking is, what do we want to protect? Our kneecaps or elbows or our nose, or what do you want to protect? So this the founders of Wing Chun, this was the first thought when they start to place their hands here in Manza Wuza. So very, very important when I teach that the students take my experience and make it become his own experience. Mostly what we do, we read books, we watch videos, and then go to seminars and collect movements. There are lots of collectors or fishermen, especially in the United States here. There are lots of people out there that are fishing in seminars, going to this master, to this. What they're all doing is imitating. They're like a parrot. You know, they're imitating other people's motion, but it's not their motion. And it's very, very difficult. So once you understand the concept of any kind of theory, and you can explain it back to people in a mathematical, scientific way, in that moment, this experience of somebody else's becomes your own personal experience. But if you just imitate and talk after the mouth and imitate the person without being able to explain to other people what you're doing there, and you just say, oh, well, my Sifu showed me. He said, hey, who told you that's the center line? Oh, I read that book, it says so. Remember, a book is always the opinion of one person. It doesn't represent the truth really in that sense. It's only one person's truth. Or video is just motion. Look, books and videos, they both are good resources to make researches, but if you only get to one source, you have only one opinion. So books gives you maybe historical, maybe theoretical background, video gives you emotions, but still you need the teacher personally, because even here I will teach Chisa, I will show the concept, people over that side of the camera, they will not feel the touch, feel the pressure. So you need all these 3 components to make a whole. Okay? So very, very important. So, but if you're in the same system, and since you people know when I train with you where the pressures, where the concept is, and you understand the theory, so the video and the book will help you. But if you're out of the system, it's a little bit difficult because you don't know where the corrections are, or where the mathematics behind this. Okay? So where the pressures, how we do this. So very, very important that all these 3 components are together. So anyhow, so what is the center line, okay? So for us, the center line, I can say simply, which many people repeat, is this line. It's an imaginary line from me to the person in front of me. You can say my enemy, my opponent, any object or whatever, anything where the danger comes from. This straight line is the shortest line from A to B, or from me to my opponent, right? So, and everybody knows this because we keep preaching it all the time. So everybody, hey, this is my center line. Now I ask you, hey, can you explain to me why it is there, how you find it is there? Because then people say, well, I ask, where's your center? What do you try to protect? They go from here to there. The whole body swooping up the center would be about your belly button. But then still, people are not wrong. This is correct. But how do we mathematically prove it? So again, I said first we need a logical thinking. This means what do we want to protect? So basically take your top of your head to below your groin, so from the big brain to the small brain, or people upside down, big brain, small brain, whatever. So this is the part, right? So without the limb, this is what you call the trunk. This is where your vital organs are. This is what we want to protect. So if this would be the center line, so some people say, oh, we protect the center line because all the vital organs are along that vertical line, which is not true. My liver is outside, my kidneys are outside, my heart is a little bit over here, maybe you should like your throat, it's okay, but you have everywhere vital organs. Okay, so it's very, very important that you have to see the whole box. Now I want to protect this in a frame that my range with my arms, they're like a bumper on a car. My protection shield has the reach and protect this frame, okay, not just one line. So this line, geographically measurements, is just nothing else, a vertical line. So the vertical line can go anywhere from here. You can have 1 million if you want lines over here. So let's say if I make my mathematics wrongly, so I have a vertical line here, okay, and then I have a horizontal line I put here. So my cross is here, this will be my center point, so I have to put my hands up here, right? So we have to be very precise. So what we really want to know is the center of it, the center point, okay? So this means a vertical midline, which goes right 50% to each side. So the message of a vertical line is what? Defining left from right. So without the vertical line, I could not say from here to here is left, from here to here is right. So this is important for us, so we have orientation to say, okay, from which point to where I decide to call it left. So, but since we want to protect equally both sides, so we need a vertical midline, 50% to both. So in that moment, the vertical midline, when it's defined left from right, also creates one dimension. Because from left to right is we call the width. Okay? So the same job with the horizontal, since we have the trunk, a horizontal midline, which defines up and bottom and top, so it's the height, it's the second dimension. Right? So the cross point here would be my center point. This is probably, for every human, no matter how you build, it's about your solar plexus here. Okay? Now, from this center point, is an imaginary line goes straight out. This is your center line. Now, mathematically, everybody can recreate and construct this and understand much better, because everybody in the world will understand this. If I would say, just like use Chinese terms, people don't understand. Like I say, hey, this is a bongzao. First time somebody comes in your school, say, okay, give me a bongzao. The person is going to say, hey, what's that? Is it a banana? Or what is that? Can I eat it? Because they don't know Chinese. Right, so you have to have mathematical terms to explain to the student the first time, right? Because this is what we learn in school. Everywhere in the world, people learn mathematics. Every first grade, or middle school, high school, they learn the same mathematics internationally, okay, or geometry, so that he will understand your language. Now, once you have this, and this, so you have 3 dimensions, and if you build, or your human keep looking like this, built the same way, have 2 arms, they stick outside of that frame, we put together, so we create something like a triangle. In this moment, I have, of course, only 2 dimensions. I have the width and the depth. So now, when I do this, the wuzao, we call the wuzao, so this is the attending arm. Okay, so now from the lowest to the highest, I have the height. When I do this, everybody can see from elbow to my finger is the depth, elbow to elbow is the width, and fingertips to the highest and lowest point is the height. So now I have 3 dimensions, you see? Okay, now, if I don't have the last component, since we have 4 dimensions we work with, is time. Time is the 4th. How do we apply time? Very simple example. Now, we use a lot the term of the wedge. Piece triangle, piece of wood, we put it on a door. Let's say the wedge height is maybe 2 inches, but the door is up 2.5 inches. So you put under the door and you try the door pumps, the wedge will never stop the door. The door will open up because it's too short, the height is too short, you understand? So now what you have to do is have the height of the wedge higher. So this means if I have a some people say like this, So the height is not good, so people can hit you on top of it. So that's why you need a very, very strong height. Same with the width. But look, now, if this is 3 inches, and the door is 2.5 inches, so it will stop the door by opening. But it will not stop the door if one component, pressure, is missing. Now if you put the wedge down, what you do to stop the door, you kick it in. In that moment you create force forward. If not, the door is strong, he will push the wedge back and it will still open up, okay? If it's strong enough. So therefore, if I just stand like this, if I maybe Peter, so if you say Mansa Wusao, let's see us. So maybe this one. So. Okay, now this Mansa Wusao, if Peter doesn't move, look, I can hit him. It's very easy to hit him. It looks like a Swiss cheese there, and lots of holes. Yeah. The same thing, watch, if you're here, so this is the same thing which I meant by if the wedge is not high enough, the end of a triangle. So it is too close to his chest. Okay? So because our protection doesn't start on our chest, it starts from the elbow. Because the elbow is a length, so you can move. There's a bumper, there's a tolerance room from here to here. But if this would be here, I couldn't do the bong zao, I couldn't do the tan zao, therefore it's here. So therefore your triangle doesn't start on your chest, it starts from your elbow because you need this to stop the punch here. If he would start on his chest, and I punch him, and you move forward when I come, I will still hit him. Because the time he starts, the time I intercept, so I always will about 10 or 15 inches I will go through. So this means his position is already too close to his body. Same as when he is slightly offline, if he's next to his center line, but his correct position about next to the elbow. So from here, so if I punch him, he moves forward, I will hit him anyway, because his wedge would be totally, the width would be not strong enough. So okay, so it would be offline, so I can hit him. So but now, if you place him correctly, the same distance here which we have, and here. So if I punch him now and he moves forward, he puts time in. So I cannot hit him, you see? Now this is the thing, and now if he continues, he will split my force, he will deflect my force. Right? So, now, thank you. Time is our active movement going forward. So what we try to achieve with this is, the impact of a punch is your face. This is what the target is. He will hit you. So what we do is we shorten the time instead of here. Already bring it up here, so we have contact, the impact is on your wrist. So from here to here, this distance, he has the intercept. So this means this is for our nerve system, for the sense of touch, enough time to find out which way the pressure goes to give the chance our arm to be bended in any direction. And then we use that force which we call borrow enemy's force. This is what we do, to be turned or rotated from his force, okay? So therefore time is very important, this is time. By moving forward as soon as the attack comes. Okay? So, if I have a boxer, since Hassan used to be German champion for Southwest Germany, right? So, if you look at a jab is something bang, pulling back, right? So I have here, if he jabs me, he does this and then takes it back. Bang, bang. So, when I stay like this, I don't move, he can hit me very easy. But he's dancing and he's coming and jabs me. See? When I lunge forward, I create pressure. The moment he touches my hand, he pushes, I move forward, I put. Now when he withdraws his hand, goes back, he invites me just like a magnet. He's very, very fast. So I'm in already. I take the space through that, also wait for his second punch. Okay? So very important that you understand the forward pressure, very, very important. This goes there as a cheeser. That's why we're rolling. A lot of people, thank you, save 1 second. A lot of people think, Chi-Sao is fighting. I have lots of people come over from different Wing Chun styles and say, oh, Tsun Emin, well, I'm doing so many years Chi-Sao, and can you do it? And I want to check out how you use it. I say, hey, listen, I'm not a dummy here, everybody can come here and do Chi-Sao. The Chi-Sao is nothing else than just a method to implant reflexes, just to make your limbs flexible. Okay, and later, of course, in the broader sense, make your whole body just like a steel spring, okay? So this is what these people don't understand. And they always think, oh, touch, and you touch somebody, oh, I'm better, I touched him, or this is totally rubbish, okay? So it's nothing as a teaching or training method. Now, so once we understand the center learn how to mathematically recreate it and verify our theory, so for everybody, so it becomes your theory. So you place our hands exactly there. See? Now I have the wedge in every direction, this way and this way. Now, this gives us as a tactical advantage exception to a boxer, right? If he is a boxer and I'm a boxer, so this would be our distance. If he jabs me, I can do this. If he jabs me, I can do this. So this is our distance. So when he leans forward, then he touches me. Just lean forward. Boom, you see? This is okay. This is what the boxers do. So I couldn't box from here. This would be not the realistic distance for a box match, right? This is too far. The box, the here, boom, boom, okay? Now, when I'm here and Hassan jabs me and leans in, this is when he can hit me. So now, go back in your position, box position. Now here's Hassan, look. Or somebody puts his hand in front of your nose. You think the boxer's going to stay here? What do you want to do if I'm here? What are you going to do, Hassan? Was machst du da nicht hier? That's it. You see? He will open up because this is too close. He can be the fastest man in the world. The one thing he cannot change is distance. Now which distance is shorter? Is this shorter or this to this? See, he can be fast. He still has to go this all the way this way. And I just if you jab me, I'm already there. Do you understand? So therefore he would not stand here. He would go up there. So now he needs a much larger distance to cover to hit me. So I can be very relaxed. So as soon as he moves in, he needs a preparation step. Whatever he wants to do, he has a step and then punch. So this is the point. If Hassan steps, I'm in. So whatever he does this, he needs to walk in and then get in the distance and then watch and hit me. If he does this, I'm in. So at the same time I step. So through that, his first step is in preparation, my first step is straight attack. So this is something to do with the distance because also gives you the protection of your manza or of our center line, okay? Now this is the shortest distance, but here, in that case, this is the shortest distance. So I put my center line point from here all the way up here. Now, the same thing, this theory is important to protect our lives. But now I can just take it down to my floor, so I have a center line from here. But this is just to also intercept or cut the kicks and protect my lower parts, okay, so my knees. Now if I see this angle, this would be my depth. Right? So if you look at here, this is my vertical line and my horizontal line. So here's my center point. Here I have a center line. Now, if Hassan would give me a snap kick, look, I cut him here. So same, if Hassan punched me with this, now give me a kick and punch. Same effect, same technique. So because I have the same concept down here with the center line. Or if Hassan kicks me with this, see, it's the same here. Okay, so now we can combine, doesn't matter. Hassan can be punched with this and kick me with this. So I have no helpers, it doesn't really matter. So everything you later do on the center line, you cut into incoming punch. Look, if he punches the ears, just go in ears. Hassan punches, look, I'm outdoor, so and I have my elbow low, it's a substitute for the angle triangle. If he's Hassan here, look at the effect. So he's split him. The same thing, if my elbow is low, he's split over there. Okay? Now, here is already that side of the wedge. I will split him. If he comes with this, you see? If he comes with this hand moves too. So you move both. There's still the triangle is always there, your wedge concept. Now, if your Hassan comes with this, if your Hassan comes with this, I'm diagonal, still the same. So later on, we can mix the punches. This has all something to do with your Chi-Sao. Because everything we do, we apply the center line on it. Okay? So, now if you look at your Chi-Sao, let me finish the legs first. Look, doesn't matter here, it's the same. He can punch me with any hand, I can always deflect his force. This is where really Bruce Lee got this. Here, it's the same. He can punch me with any hand, I can always deflect his force. This is where really Bruce Lee got this idea for Jeet Kune Do, intercepting or deflecting punches or intercepting fists. So this is what you do. You see when we do it here, just chin punches, you rest, good cross, boom, boom, twice, boom, see? I deflect his punches the way, whatever he does. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Each time he comes, I can deflect it. So the same here. If I'm here, if Hassan gives me a cross kick here, look, just by the circular movement, I go off the center line and move my center line here and cut him in. So if he gives me a straight kick here, if he gives me a cross kick here, if he gives me a straight kick here, even if he gives me a snap kick here, so I apply it, so it's the same, like the concept is the same with the hand. So I don't need to change, so I don't need to change my concept because it's a kick. So a lot of styles, they change their concept, the hands they fight like this, or the kicks they fight like this, and you don't have in a real fighting situation the time for it, because everything is very fast. So, oh, what do I have to do now? Okay, so now, we apply the center line on your Ponsao, like Chizao. So, what's Ponsao is nothing else, two arms doing a motion, okay, doing something there. What is the something? Now, if you look at fight, if the punch comes, I come. We have two rivers, like one riverbed, two rivers coming at with a high speed towards each other. What's happened? When they meet, the pressure will go up like a fontaine, and a stronger push will overlap the other one. Okay, and underneath, the other one still will push in a little bit, but the other one will win. So now what's happened here? When Hassan punches, I punch here. See? Now, since in Chizao or in Dan Chi, single arm Chizao, if Hassan gives me a palm strike, you see I do this, or if Hassan gives me a punch, he lifts my hands out because he doesn't intercept, he doesn't step in. This means we stop time here. Okay, we stop time here because all the pictures in the movie, Hassan would punch and step all the way in. No? Ooh. Maybe. Okay? Or again, because the pressure will go this way. But here in Ponsao or Danchi, without a step, the first part you learn, if Hassan punches, he lifts me up because I push in, I want to punch too. So this is a hinder fist. Hassan punches, I punch. First we're going to be like, first we're going to be like strong, yeah? But if Hassan is strong and he steps in, boom, step in, boom, see? Then he will bend my arm and rotate me. Oh, only because he's stronger, but I'm not pulling back. If I do it wrong, punch and step, whoop, oi! I see what I'm telling you because I pull, so there's no pressure forward. So the idea is really your wrist, your arm always wants to go forward. So when he punches me, I want to do this. If he's not strong enough, I don't need a boxer. If you're too strong for your opponent, you just, boom. You don't need any time, any bomb. It's the idea, it's the first principle, right? It's the way free you intercept. You punch me, so, hey, why should I bounce out? Or why should I jump if you punch indoor? If I'm stronger than you, I win. But if it's Hassan, just imagine, Hassan is much stronger than me. Punch, now look, then he does this to me. Okay? But my hand is not pushing here, I still want to go here. If he stops, I will go here. But because we're stopping the film on one frame, if Hassan punches me, easy, stop. No step, just punch, be here. Okay? Elbow deep, so. Now if Hassan steps in, now this will happen, look. Step, 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 boom. Now, still, it's a frame, we stop the film. Okay? So, if you're fighting and you go very quick and punch me, very quick. You don't see any bones out. Again, very, very quick. Okay, okay, so very slowly. That's what you see. Because it's not stopped, the film, you don't see bones out. But you see lots of books, people pose, look similar, but technically not. Or if I would use a block, I would be strong, you punch me. People do this sometimes, they call bombs-out block or tucks-out block. You don't have it, it's not a block. Everything what we do is energy goes forward and somebody interrupts. And the energy still goes forward. See, this is where we put all this yin and yang. Everybody knows yin and yang, right? Thank you. What is yin and yang? So, people say, air and not air, dark and light, woman and man, strong and weak, whatever, right? So always the opposite attractions. This is one thing, but they cannot really explain what it is. They just read a book, it says so. But then, how you put it in martial arts? What does this yin and yang stuff has to do with martial arts? And where is in Wing Chun visible? Yeah, it's pretty much, look, if you have a, in that sense, yin is for the flexible, like the female side, yang is the powerful, and the male side, and we have this together. So if you punch this, let's say you pull my arm a bongso, in that moment, this is yin, and this one is yang, or yin, yang. So this is, I'm taking over the force, and yang is the power. Or just in a very relaxed punch, if you see this, this is already yin and yang. Maybe visible here because I'm by myself, it's just yin. This is yin because it's very relaxed. Yeah, but if I'm here, this is yin. And then the outcome is yang. It's the force because my arm is so relaxed that my force can go through. Okay, and then the outcome, the effect is yang. It's powerful, boom, the damage. But if I'm like this, and he's still smiling, you see, he's still here. Because the force is here, I'm always yang. So there's no yin. So you have to, just very boom, very relaxed. Therefore all punches are very relaxed. So this means, if he's here, if he forces with the elbow, maybe I take this guy's big arms. Now if you understand the energy, if I punch, and Peter's very strong, can you see? Yes. So he's very strong, he has a tight punch. So what's happening? I'm punching, he's punching. Boom, 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 boom. He goes in. See, this is what my arm still wants to drill in. Still wants to go and drill in. This is the first. This is when the two rivers come and this one goes on top and the other one goes here. Right? So the pressure. And the other one goes still underneath. This is underneath. This is the big river coming. And this wants to go still. This is not all of a sudden doing this. Until the one river takes the one with him back, there's a resistance. This happens all here. Now this river comes very strong. Okay? So, this is what's happened. This is already, look, yang, yin, okay, force, and flexible. And at the same time he comes, at the same time I go from here, from a side door. And he runs into it. So that's why we call it borrow the opponent's force. So, another thing is, when you look at, you don't, what we say always, well, I'm passive. Lots of people use the word passive. In Wing Chun, we're actually really not passive. Passive means like, I'm not doing anything, you get punched. Okay? We're all the time active. Because when you understand what I'm talking, if our energy goes forward, it means we're always active. We're always trying to go forward. But the decision when to do bongsa or tanda or chum, whatever this force is creating, is not your decision. It's in the unconscious. Because this is something through Chiza you have done for years. Over. One movement, maybe a couple million times, second movement, and then you mix them up. Okay? You train them under stress, speed. When you receive first time, it's slowly. Okay? But later, very slowly taking, but later you have to do it under every circumstances. Stress, force, very soft, and then under speed, basically creating different atmosphere that your muscle memory and your nerve system follows and memorizes these motions, this stress, these pressures, and then your brain, since it's a new movement, is always concentrating, trying to figure out, it is analyzing. The pressures here, and then you get boom. You always get like boom. So the whole body doesn't work together. Okay? But after a while, you do it for 1 million times. So you very simply said, you make your brain become bored with this movement. So your brain afterwards or relaxes, and your brain can do something else now while your physique is taking over. And this is what we call the unconsciousness, a reflex movement. So this means this is not anymore your decision, so that's why people always say passive, but passive actually is really the wrong word. I mean, I would call it the unconscious decision, because it's not a decision you make. Okay? So what you do is consciously, is aware, you go forward, you hit. And then what's happened becomes automatic, because this is a reflex now. This is being trained into your physique, into your muscle memory, and everything else is, his force does. If he's too soft, you hit, because this is what you want to do. If he's too strong, he will bend your arm, okay, in any direction. So if it's here, you have pretty much four sides on your arm, if you want so. So if I have David here, look, maybe on each arm, so if just the David here still, if David would punch me indoor, so he would push my pressure backwards. It is stronger push. We call it chamsao, or sinking elbow. So if he does the same movement, but he pushes to the outside over there, look, then we call the kaozao. So you can push over here, one direction, jump, or the other side, cow. The same from the outdoor. So you have indoor two sides. For cow and jump and outdoor, if you push this across my body, you bomb. Or if you just half an inch over my center line this way, creates bomb. If you go to this side, creates down. So you have four sides. And if you take my whole body with both hands, he has two hands, so I have four sides. You have this side and two inside. But each arm itself has four sides. And if you have this, I have four sides now. For the whole. Okay? So therefore, the center line is always everywhere. Now, thank you. How we position our arm in Ponsao. All these measurements are not just to define your center line. This also helps you where to put your arms. Sometimes you go to a seminar, there are a couple hundred people, and you go there and Sifu is doing something, performing Bongzao, you go like bing, okay, and then a couple of instructors are walking around correcting the students. Now you're one instructor. Let's make an example. Let's say Frank here. So, and okay, let's say I'm the Sifu, I'm practicing Bongzao with you, and I have all you guys are instructors, and you come and correct Frank. You make a Bongzao. So, now Peter, maybe you come, and maybe Sabine come. So we go like this, okay? So, now I go like this, so I go like this. Your Bongzao has to be here. Now Sabine comes to this guy, there, and now you go there, you put him somewhere, no. So, now next guy comes, so what happened to this guy is, I think he's going to be like, he's going to be really exhausted and totally confused. Hey, I think we all make the same system. I think this is Wing Chun. One guy puts one here, one there, so he's got totally confused. And he goes back home to his school and accuses his own seeing or Sifu, whatever. Oh, you're teaching me for many years the wrong Bongzao, I quit. So it becomes a technical matter and people are arguing because, why? Because they don't understand the center line theory. Once you understand and your student understands center line theory, they can correct themselves. They know where the mathematics are. They know where the Bongzao in a form, because the form has no pressure, nobody, so it has to be really here. Okay? So therefore, no matter if I give you a wrong correction, you can always go back to the concept of the center line and correct yourself. So therefore, understanding is number one. If I teach people, I make sure they understand what they're doing, the goal they're trying to achieve, the reasons, what's happening, how this happens. So once the student understands the exercise itself and the goal, he will 100% learn. But if you just tell him, just do this and imitate me, he will not learn. Because he will always having questions, okay? So therefore understanding is very, very important, and as a good instructor you have to make people understand. Now, so, okay, you see the width is always depending on the width of your opponent, okay? If somebody is too narrow, because we always explain to put the elbow on the center line, has to touch the center line, has to be narrow. The partner's shoulder is too broad, so you can hit him without even any contact. So when the opponent's out, and if you're too narrow, it's very easy for me to hit through. Same thing for me, if I'm too open, my elbows are too out, so she can hit me, or maybe from this side, you see? So therefore, same thing with the center line, the up and down has to go with the width, tight or open up. So the indoor has to open up, the outdoor has to tighten in. Okay, so Sabine is indoor. This means since I'm more broad than her, my shoulder, so she has to open up a little bit. But the angle, that the elbow has to point towards the center line, and your wrist forwards to meet a little bit out. So this is the same. See, it's the same for me. My elbow, my hooks out is more in. This part, the inside of your forearm, is like a brake pad on a car. Okay, so when Sabina attacks me here, see, again. See how she's pushing my skin back? So when I put pressure forward, so I can stop her. And if she goes too much in, I hit her, right? So now, if she really goes to her target, which is here, I can stop her. Okay? So again, if I would be to open, of course, my boxer would be here, it's very easy for her to hit me. Vice versa, if she should be too narrow with her tanza, I can hit her. So this concept goes for both arms. So when we switch around and do the Hünsaus, the changing wrists, you see? So if she's too open, I can hit her. If she elbows in and she pushes, she can stop me. She can feel that, or here. Now she's too narrow right now, you see? Okay? The same example again, if I can have the stairs, please, or steps. So just put it here. Maybe you're taller than you. So if you go on top of it, see, she has a fight. That's why Wing Chun's system is also the size doesn't matter. And if you would say the normal position and you're in your normal position, just move with the center line normally, and this doesn't look good. So therefore, he hates being hit here and she hates being hit here. So we both are, he's descending and she's ascending. You see now we have the diagonal line here. Everybody can see it more clear now. Okay? Now, if Sabina would be here and you punch Sabina because you're taller, you punch just indoor up and touch his nose and step all the way and lock your elbow. Punch, indoor. Okay, that's fine with the elbow, that's not bad, but the same just from the indoor. Okay, and then lock your elbow. Now you see, the way it works on this, you can split the force over here. So therefore, a small person can split the force and then go in. Same thing. Or, if you would be here, and you could punch, she could still have her bongsa and be rotated this way. And they just step forward and punch, of course. Okay? So there's no problem here at all, huh? Thank you. So, take this away, please. Thank you. So therefore, see, no matter how tall or short, or how if I'm too narrow, so I have to open up, you see, my wedge. I'm by myself, I see someone's really big, and my hand is up here. Somebody's tall, my hand is up here. Somebody's short, I'm here. So our center line is really flexible all the time. Depends on the size of our opponent. Okay? So what I will explain to you also is now a little bit the footwork in Wing Chun, how we step. Because your hand can only absorb incoming force if your footwork is coordinated. Because if you're too stiff with your position in your legs, if I have you, Peter. Now I can follow your big biceps again, please. Of course. Now if I cannot rotate, not turn, and he's coming in and punching me very heavy, so you see these kind of things because then it's harder and hard because I don't know how to rotate. My footwork is very poor. So if Peter hard hits me, then what I do, I go stop him with the force, and that looks very stiff. Instead of if you're powerful, fast, it's very soft. So I can transform his force here into my body, into my legs. I'm here. Even I'm sitting on this, it's 100% weight in the back, and if Peter pushing me, I'm still very strong, very strong. I'm not pushing me very hard. See, I'm very, very strong here, see? Push hard. So no matter how hard. So I can punch. It's very soft here. I'm not using the muscles are unnecessary for this exercise. But if I would use it mentally because I want to do it, I'm making the decision myself, then I'm going to be like, and he pushes me now. So you can destroy my balance very easy, okay? So therefore flexibility is the best. So thank you. Flexibility, with Wing Chun we are not weak or stiff. We are strong and soft. So if you have an iron bar, and you put softness, it becomes a steel spring. Like, okay, that's what we are, powerful, but still at the same time flexible. Okay? Stiff is like a branch on a tree, the wind comes, and softness is like the grass on the wind. Okay? So we have both, we are strong and flexible. And then soft creates flexibility, okay? So, the same thing with our foot. When the iris, when you see